Hey guys, Corey Beasley with Fight Camp Conditioning, and today I'm going to talk about workouts for martial arts. Now just to clarify real quick, what we're going to be talking about right here is strength and conditioning workouts for martial arts. So strength and conditioning can help, build a lot of athletic qualities from strength and power and speed and all those types of things if it's done well. Now, when we talk about martial arts, that's a lot of variance there as well. So it depends on if you're a competitive karate or taekwondo practitioner versus a jiu-jitsu or a wrestler. It can be a little bit different. But this is all, the basics of this kind of all go together. And this is a template. It's not the only template, but it's a template that I use quite a bit because it hits a lot of the things that my guys need. I typically only see my fighters twice a week. So I want to be able to hit all these different areas each time that I see them to get the most bang for the buck. So let's start through it. So I've broken down the workout into a handful of categories here, as you can see. And obviously we're all going to start with a warm-up. Now the way breaking this stuff down, what it allows us to do, or at least me in my head, is when I see all the stuff that's on social media, whether it's Instagram or YouTube or all these different places, and you see people doing mobility stuff and foam rolling and explosive stuff and lifting and all this type of stuff, in my head when I see that stuff, I know where it goes. Okay, so if we're talking about a warm-up, in my brain I'm thinking about, okay, cool, we're going to do some foam rolling, mobility, and maybe a little bit of movement, crawling, locomotion, that type of stuff. So that's where we kind of start. So a lot of my guys, maybe we sit too much, maybe they just woke up, maybe they got off the couch, maybe they've been sitting all day in school. You don't really know. So when we do our warm-up, I want to address some common spots for that person. We can get really individualized. If someone's got tight shoulders or hips or ankles, this is the place we can kind of address it. So we're getting that stuff prepped so that when we go and do more intense things, we're ready for it, okay? So the second piece of that puzzle is to explode. So once we got a really good warm-up, now that warm-up might take, 5 to 15 minutes if you do it well. Then we're going to do something explosive to fire up the nervous system. And in my brain, I think sprint, jump, and throw. Now, we might not always sprint, but we're going to do something explosive. Maybe it's a lateral leap. Maybe it's a box jump, hurdles. There's all kinds of progressions for that stuff, guys. And you want to use the one that's right for you, as well as different types of medicine ball throws. All these things are really super beneficial to fire up the nervous system and get us ready for the next piece, which is to get strong. So when we're talking about getting strong, everybody, doesn't matter who we are, right? We all squat, we hinge, we push, we pull, we lunge, we carry stuff. And that's where those exercises go, okay? Now how we organize it, how we manipulate the variables, the intensity and volume and rest and all that stuff is really dependent upon where you're at in your camp or your goal that you're trying to hit. But we've warmed up, we've done a little bit of explosive stuff, short, explosive, firing up the nervous system so we're fast. We're getting strong through those basic movement patterns of squatting, hinging, lunging, pushing, pulling, using whatever progression of that exercise or regression that's appropriate. And then the last piece, or the second to the last piece here, is conditioning. Now for me, I know my guys practice twice a day. They're doing a ton of skill work, and they get a lot of conditioning from their skill coaches. So what I'll typically do a lot of times, unless I speak to the coach directly, these days or in the past, I used to do a lot of conditioning because I figured, hey, these guys might need to go 5-minute rounds. They need to get breathing hard. They need to be doing all this stuff. But what I found is that doing extra work when they're already getting it at their skill practice was too much, and the boys started to break down. So this conditioning piece, a lot of times it's optional, but that's something you need to coordinate with the skill coach on. So make sure those guys are in shape. But conditioning in my brain is at least broken down into just aerobic or anaerobic. Depending on where they're at in camp, we might do something, slow and easy. We might do something that's a little bit less intense, which is the aerobic piece. Or we might ramp it up and go into that anaerobic portion of the conditioning where we're doing stuff a little bit more intense, a little bit more explosive, maybe doing some intervals, some repeats and different things like that to get them breathing, to get their heart and everything ready to compete. And then the last piece, which I think is a lot of overlooked, this first piece and this last piece tend to be overlooked a lot, and they're very, very important, especially for the combat athlete or the martial artist that's training a ton. Their body's taking a ton of damage, and they're just doing a lot of work. So we got to be doing overtime on the recovery piece, which at the end of a workout, we can do, breathing drills. Obviously, just eating good food, sleeping, and resting. Those three real super basic things are an incredible way to kind of speed up that recovery process so you can go back to practice and do it again the next day. So hopefully that gives you a little bit more structure into your workouts. How you manipulate and what you do within that structure will determine the output or the goal that you're going to get from the workout. And we can manipulate that a lot of different ways depending on the goal for the athlete. So hope that stuff helps. Now, if you guys want more information on structure and workouts and what type of workout you need to do and when, you guys can click the link down below. I've created a great infographic. It's kind of like a roadmap to give you guys an idea of where you're at, what you need to be doing, and what type of workout will work best.